We've got specialized regional travel guides, super detailed student handbooks for logistics, and these incredible gastronomic tours that take us, everywhere from thermal springs to underground beer cellars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to pull all of this together for you. Whether you're a student, a traveler, or just, deeply curious, we want to show you the sheer breadth of this place.
It's so much more than just Prague.
So much more. Forget the quick tourist snapshots. We're getting into the real flavor, the history, and the little logistical details that honestly make traveling or living in this country so rewarding.
And we've charted a course across 4 really distinct regions. First, the healing waters and heavy industry of West Bohemia.
Then down to the castles and fish ponds of South Bohemia.
Then we're going to bridge the two with the Bohemian-Moravian highlights, a central cultural nexus.
And finally, we end up in Moravia. Wine, folklore, and, as we'll find out, some very traditional food.
Yeah. But before we even get on that steam train, we have to clear something up, something that trips up pretty much everyone who starts looking into this country.
Oh, the name.
The name. You see Czech Republic, you see Czechia, and they're used almost interchangeably, even in some of our source material.
So what's the official story here? This is where having good sources is key.
It really is, and the sources are clear. The official short-form geographical name has been Czechia since the summer of 2016.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little. Why the change, or why the push for the shorter name?
It really comes down to efficiency and, standardization. The sources confirm that Czechia is now in the international norms, specifically ISO 3166.
Oh.
Think of it like France versus the French Republic. Nobody says the French Republic in a normal conversation.
Right, of course.
Czechia is meant to work the same way. It's just the short, practical name for the country.
That makes total sense. And I've noticed big global players like Google Maps, major sports organizations, they're all starting to use Czechia more and more.
Exactly. And the guides we looked at were smart about it. They said they use both names to help people get familiar with the short name. But for, geographic accuracy and clarity, Czechia is the term we should probably be getting used to.
Right. It just streamlines everything, especially when you look at a map and see how truly central this country is in Europe.
Precisely. A single, clear name helps define its place.
All right. The name is settled, the mission is clear, and my appetite is, frankly, already building. So let's jump in. First stop on our road trip. Part 1, West Bohemia. This is where healing waters meet world-class beer.
And this region, right away, just shows you the country's deep roots in both healing and industry. We're starting in the West Bohemian Spa Triangle with the iconic town of Karlovy Vary.
Karlovy Vary. It's famous all over the world for its thermal mineral springs. But this isn't just about getting a mud wrap and relaxing. The experiences, it's really unique.
It's so interactive. You don't just soak in the water. Visitors actually walk along this incredible ornate thermal colonnade.
Oh, right.
And they carry these specially designed porcelain drinking cups. And they take part in this ritual of tasting the healing water directly from the thermal fountains.
And the water itself is unusual, right?
It is. It's often quite warm and has this very distinct mineral flavor. It's not like drinking bottled water. It's an experience.
I love that, the whole ritual of it. You're actively participating in this wellness tradition that goes back centuries. So what else is happening there culturally, gastronomically?
Well, the spa tradition really gave birth to 2 huge highlights. First, the traditional spa wafers, or oplatki. They're these wonderfully thin, sweet, round discs. They're often served warm, sometimes with a filling. Just a very light, elegant thing to have with the mineral water.
They sound delicate. A real contrast to some of the heavier food we're going to get into later. What's the second highlight?
Becherovka, the famous herbal liquor.
Of course.
They joke that it's the 13th spring of Karlovy Vary because it was originally sold as a kind of curative elixir, a medicine.
And the sources say you have to visit the museum.
Oh, it's a must-do. Jan Becher's museum. You get a whole presentation on how the liquor is made, which is this really intricate process, and then it all culminates in a tasting.
So you're learning the history, the chemistry, and you're tasting the regional spirit. Literally. It's the perfect blend of what West Bohemia is all about.
Exactly. And beyond what you can eat or drink, there's this other side to the region's industry.
World-class craftsmanship.
Yes, the Moser Glassworks. This is where you see Czech artistry in action. The demonstrations, they show the incredible skill that goes into glass blowing, the heat, the teamwork.
And then the cutting room.
Right, the meticulous precision where they etch these elaborate designs into the crystal, it's mesmerizing.
It's such a great reminder that Czechia's reputation isn't just about history. It's about highly skilled, tangible industry. Okay, let's do a food check for day one. After sipping warm mineral water and herbal liquor, you're going to need something substantial.
You absolutely do. And lunch in the spa region leans into traditional Bohemian food, but with a local twist. We're talking big, hearty dishes, like a beef beer goulash.
Okay.
But the side dish here is the key. Carlsbad dumplings.
Ah, okay, so how are Carlsbad dumplings different from the standard bread dumplings, the Nedley?
They're lighter, fluffier. The sources say they're made with diced stale white bread, eggs, milk, and often some herbs like parsley. So when they're steamed, they hold their shape, but they're not as dense as the standard ones.
So they're a better counterpoint to a thick, rich goulash.
Exactly. A goulash that, in this region, is often made with the local beer. It all connects.
Beef beer goulash with Carlsbad dumplings. That sounds so satisfying. What about dinner?
Dinner takes us into the world of authentic Czech pub food. The itinerary suggests Judopinek.
Wait, hold on. The name. That translates to drowned man, doesn't it?
It does. It's a wonderfully unsettling name for what is actually a delicious dish.
So what is it exactly?
It's a pickled sausage, cured in a vinegar marinade with onions and spices. It's served cold, usually with bread.
Yeah.
The sources highlight this as just a quintessential local experience. It's cheap, it's tangy, and it's the perfect food to have with a beer. It's the complete opposite of the elegant spa wafers.
And you've also got fried cheese, smargini sir, which is another pub classic, served with tartar sauce and potatoes. These are real comfort foods.
Absolutely. And this is where things get really interesting, because just a short drive from the spas, you hit the heart of Czech brewing, or as we know it, Pilsen.
The Pilsner pilgrimage, yes.
Yeah.
This has to be on everyone's list. The city is the birthplace of the Golden Lager, home to the Pilsner or Quell Brewery.
The biggest brewery in the whole country.
And this isn't just a quick tour. This is a deep dive into the history of beer itself.
The tour is incredibly comprehensive. It's not just, here's the finished product. You trace the entire process. You see the historic malting plant, the brew houses, the huge modern bottling plant.
But the real nugget, the thing that makes this whole pilgrimage worth it, is the tasting.
Absolutely. The sources just rave about this part. You get to taste the non-filtered, non-pasteurized beer drawn directly from these huge oak lagering barrels down in the historic cellars.
Oh.
And they stress this is a variety of beer that is simply not available anywhere else in the world. You're getting a true taste of Pilsner as it was 100 years ago.
That's incredible, that unfiltered taste right where it matured. And the lunch is part of the experience too, right?
It is. You eat at the brewery restaurant, Nes Pilche, and get this, you're dining in what used to be the fermentation cellar. It's this massive atmospheric space with vaulted ceilings.
What's on the menu?
It's all designed to go with the beer. Classic Czech food. Beef broth with noodles, a big stuffed turkey escalope with rice, and then homemade brioches with plum marmalade for dessert, all paired with a beer tasting, of course.
An immersive historical meal. Okay, so moving on from the industrial hub of Pilsen, we head east, but there's a stop before the capital, Karlitschen Castle.
Karlitschen is a crucial historical stop. It was the former seat of Czech kings, most famously established by Charles IV. It was built to protect the imperial crown jewels and holy relics.
That's a massive, dramatic structure.
It really is, perched on a hill just looming over the landscape, and its location dictates the next culinary experience.
Because the forests all around it were the king's private game reserve.
Exactly, and that legacy lives on in the regional food.
So for dinner, we're talking about traditional high-end game meat. What kind of dishes are we looking at?
The menu suggested is pretty luxurious. It starts with a homemade wild boar terrine, then venison medallions with juniper berries, a classic pairing to cut through the richness, served with potato puree.
So you're connecting the history of the monarchy right to what's on your plate.
Precisely. And for the traveler who wants to really embrace the local culture, the sources mention one last, slightly unusual indulgence.
The ultimate immersion. The beer spa.
Yes. Specifically at a place called Hotel Chodovar near Karlovy Vary. It's a family-run hotel and brewery where you can literally, immerse yourself in beer.
So you're actually sitting in a bath filled with water and hops and yeast.
That's exactly it. It's described as being incredibly relaxing and apparently very good for your skin. They even have private tubs with a beer tap on the side so you can drink a cold one while you soak.
That is a uniquely Czech experience. blending their two great loves, wellness and beer.
It really is.
Okay, from restorative springs to the heart of Pilsner, West Bohemia sets a really high bar.
Let's move into part 2 now. We're focusing on the central gems and then heading south into the land of Carp and castles.
Right, so part 2 takes us straight through the capital, Prague, before we journey down into South Bohemia and then start to bridge over into Moravia. We have to start with that capital snapshot. For any first-time visitor, the historic tour is the foundation. Our itinerary covers the royal route.
Which is the traditional path that Czech kings would take before their coronation. It's a walk through 500 years of history. Starts in the Old Town, you cross the famous Charles Bridge.
With all the Baroque statues.
Right. Then through the Lesser Town, and it all culminates up at the Prague Castle complex.
And the itinerary also makes sure you see the astronomical clock in the Old Town Square, which is just a medieval marvel, and then ends near the Powder Tower and the stunning municipal house.
And that municipal house stop is often where you can sample some crucial Prague gastronomy. For lunch, our sources point to 2 absolute classics. First up, Pražská šunka, Prague ham.
Which you often see roasting on these big spits, all caramelized.
Yeah.
But the one dish everyone has to try, the national specialty, is svíčková.
Svíčková na smetanie. This dish it's almost legendary in Czech culture. It's a slow-braised beef fillet served in this thick, rich, creamy root vegetable sauce.
And it comes with the dumplings, of course.
Always with the bread dumplings. And it's topped with a spoonful of cranberry sauce and maybe a slice of lemon.
So why is this the definitive national dish? Why not goulash or pork knuckle?
I think because it's more complex, it's aspirational, it's labor-intensive, it uses better cuts of meat. It was the dish for celebrations for a proper Sunday family dinner.
Ah, so it has that connection to home and family.
Exactly. The
Yep.
combination of flavors sweet from the cranberries, sour from the lemon, savory beef, rich cream, it just shows a level of sophistication that some of the heavier dishes don't quite capture. It's the taste of Czech home cooking perfected.
That's a great insight. Now, the sources also get into Prague's beverage traditions, and it's not all about just drinking the beer.
No, for the really serious beer researcher, there's an option to visit the Research Institute of Brewing and Malting for a specialized tasting lesson.
The academic approach.
Exactly. Or you can just visit one of the city's many fantastic microbreweries. But if you need a break from the hops, you have to honor the coffee tradition.
Which is often overlooked by the beer tourists, but it's a huge part of Central European culture.
A profound tradition dating back to the 18th century. Prague is filled with these stunning historic cafes. The sources recommend you take a proper break, sit down for coffee or tea, and have a classic dessert, or the klebiček.
The open-faced sandwich.
Right, a little slice of bread elegantly topped with anything from potato salad and ham to egg and pickles. A much lighter, prettier alternative to the main courses.
And for dinner in Prague, the sources talk about these organized medieval or folklore evenings.
Yeah, these are designed to be immersive, historical fun, especially for visitors.
What's the main difference between the two?
The medieval dinner is very thematic. You're in a historic cellar, there's live music, maybe some sword fights, and the food is hearty. You know, a massive roasted pork knuckle or a big beef goulash.
A feast of fire and meat.
Pretty much. The folklore option is more of a broad regional celebration. There's music, dancing, and the food is more varied. Specialties like haluki, which are these great potato gnocchi, and a mix of roasted meats. And a big selling point, often unlimited drinks.
Huh. I can see the appeal. Okay, leaving Prague, we head south to South Bohemia, the land of fish and fairy tales. The landscape here is defined by castles and ponds.
This is the historic heart of Czech fishing. The key town is Trebišov, which is famous for its mud baths, and the massive Rosenberg Pond, the biggest in the country.
And the local product here has protected status. Trebišov carp has an EU-protected geographical indication. Why is that so important?
It's a guarantee of quality and tradition. It means the carp has to be raised and processed in that specific area using their traditional methods. It protects the local ecosystem and their way of life. It's a huge point of regional pride, and we'll see this again and again.
So day 4 lunch is all about the fish. What does that meal look like?
It's surprisingly refined. You'd start with a fish soup with croutons. The main event is grilled carp, often prepared with sautéed cabbage, bacon, and garlic. And then for dessert, something like a lavender cheesecake. It's a very clean, distinct regional menu.
And for architecture, we have Hluboké Castle. What makes this one stand out?
Hluboká is often called the most beautiful romantic castle in the country. It was heavily influenced by the English Windsor style. It's just pure fairy tale with incredibly ornate interiors and wooden sculptures.
Then you reach a big decision, where to stay. Eski Budiovice or Eski Krumlov.
The Tale of Two Cities, South Bohemian style. Eski Budiovice is the regional capital and critically the home of Budweiser Budvar beer.
The original Budweiser, so the food there was probably designed to go with beer.
Absolutely. Dinner in Budiovices is hearty traditional fare. We're talking zaleki, which are cabbage pancakes, or kumundapol, kapliku potato pancakes stuffed with cabbage and smoked meat. It's real workers' food.
And on the other hand, you have Český Krumlov, the UNESCO World Heritage Gem, a completely different vibe.
It's preserved medieval charm. If you stay there, dinner is in one of the medieval taverns along the river. The menu shifts to rustic food, smoked bacon, grilled trout from the local waters, paired with the local Eggenberg beer.
Shifting east now, we hit the Bohemian-Moravian highlights. We're bridging the two big cultural regions.
Yeah, this is a beautiful stretch. You can ride a steam train in Gingişu Fredek, and then you arrive in the architectural marvel of Telep, another UNESCO site.
Telep is instantly recognizable, that fairy tale town square.
It really is. It's surrounded by these perfectly preserved, colorful houses with these incredible Renaissance gables. It's one of the most photographed places in the country.
And the food here is all about mushrooms.
Yes, reflecting the deep forests of the highlands. The lunch menu is often potato soup with mushrooms, and then maybe baked pasta with local bolete mushrooms. It's cuisine that's tied directly to the land.
And that road takes us to Znojmo, a town famous for gherkins.
And its underground history. Znojmo is famous for its pickle production, but it also has the oldest rotunda of its kind and the largest network of underground passageways in the country.
A whole hidden history. And since we're now entering Moravia, the wine region, dinner takes a sharp turn away from beer.
This is where Bohemia ends and Moravia begins, and you can taste the difference. Dinner is in a hotel surrounded by vineyards. The focus is all on wine pairing.
What's on the menu?
You might start with a cheese selection local blue cheese, marinated camembert, then maybe a strip-loin steak with a Znojmo sauce, which actually features those local pickles, all paired with Moravian wine, of course.
That transition from heavy goulash to lighter meats and local wine perfectly illustrates the cultural split. All right, let's dive into part 3 and get fully immersed in the wine, folklore, and stinky cheese of the eastern half of the country.
South Moravia. It's not just a wine region, it's a place where folklore and Christian traditions are incredibly strong. It gives it a really unique cultural identity.
And the landscape is dominated by this massive park complex. Lednice Valtis. I have no idea about the scale of this place.
It's staggering. It's a UNESCO site they call the Garden of Europe. It's 200 square kilometers, a huge planned landscape park with 2 spectacular castles, Lednice and Valtis, plus all these romantic follies, minarets, parks, ponds. It's incredible.
It sounds like a Czechoslovakia.
Mm.
And it's home to the definitive spot for Czech wine.
The wine salon of the Czech Republic, right in Valtis Castle. It's the official collection of the top 100 wines from Moravian winemakers. The place to go for a proper tasting.
And what's the food like in this Garden of Europe?
It's a bit more elevated. The suggested lunch is at a stylish castle. You might have a cucumber salad, then a refined duck breast with raspberry sauce and potato gnocchi, and maybe a sacre torte for dessert. More focus on presentation.
Later on, we touch on military history in a town called Mykolaiv.
Yeah, Mykolaiv is fascinating. It's linked to Napoleon and the famous Battle of the Three Emperors. You've got the huge castle, a preserved Jewish ghetto, and you can hike up to the Holy Hill pilgrimage site.
And after that refined lunch, Dieter goes back to some very traditional Moravian roots.
Oh, yeah. We shift into a full Moravian pork feast. This is a big agricultural region, so when an animal is slaughtered, nothing is wasted.
So what are we talking about?
Things like blood soup, tlachenka, which is a jellied brawn or head cheese, and different kinds of liver and blood sausage. It's cuisine that really respects the harvest.
Moving from the vineyards, we head into the mountains of a region called Wallachia, and we start with spirits.
The Rudolf Jelinek Distillery, world famous for its high-quality plum spirit slivovitz since 1934. You get a whole tour and a formal tasting.
And Wallachia itself is this distinct ethnographic region, mountainous, with strong folklore and unique wooden architecture. How does that affect the food?
It shifts the focus. Wallachian gastronomy is dominated by goat and sheep products. A typical lunch might be fresh goat and sheep cheese, followed by a dish called Wallachki kontrabash.
What's in that?
It's a hearty peasant dish. Sausage, buckwheat, cabbage, and onion all mixed together. A dense, energy-rich meal for the mountain climate. And for dessert, Shikis make potato cones with poppy seeds and sugar.
A completely different flavor profile. And before we leave, there's a quick stop for a special gingerbread.
In Aprende, you have to taste the Aprende ears. They're these conical gingerbread pastries, and the shape is tied to a local legend about a battle, another fiercely protected local product.
Finally, we wrap up our tour in North Moravia in the city of Olomouc, which is famous for its history and a very polarizing cheese.
Olomouc is a very important historic town, a UNESCO site with a huge Holy Trinity column. It's a major academic and cultural center.
And lunch there.
Traditional northern fare, robust garlic soup, maybe a roasted lamb chop with more garlic and baked potatoes. It's warming, substantial food.
Okay, now for the main event. The highly aromatic cheese, Olomouc tveroushki. We have to talk about this.
This is a major cultural touchstone. It's a unique, low-fat, ripened cheese that's been made since the 19th century, and yes, it has that EU-protected status.
You said it was polarizing. Why? Just how strong is the aroma?
It is. Affectionately known as stinky cheese. The sources say the pungent aroma hits you right away, but it's prized because it's so low in fat. The flavor is complex, sharp, salty, sour, and the smell, well, the smell is a point of fierce local pride.
It sounds like a true cultural test. And you can visit a museum dedicated to it.
Yes, the Olomouc tveroushki Museum, which ends with a pasting. It just shows how serious Czechia is about protecting its unique regional foods, no matter how aromatic.
And for a final sweet note in Moravia.
An afternoon break for Wallachian frigo. It's a huge, round, flat cake, usually topped with pear jam or curd cheese. A perfect sweet end to our culinary tour of the East.
That completes an incredible regional road trip. So now, for the learner, the student, the traveler, we need to shift gears into the practical toolkit, language, logistics, and academia.
This is the vital stuff that separates a tourist from someone who can actually settle in. First, the language barrier, especially in Prague. The good news is English works pretty reliably in the main tourist infrastructure.
Hotels, major restaurants, big attractions.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Right. But the moment you step outside those zones or into the regions we just talked about, things change.
How so?
Younger people generally speak confident English. But with older residents or in more traditional shops, you might find German is more common or English is very limited. The key thing to remember is that Czechs appreciate directness, and any attempt at the language is really valued.
So what are the absolute must-know phrases?
We've got 5 critical ones. Dobrý den for hello, dokuji for thank you. The super versatile prosím, which is please and you're welcome.
Okay.
You need učit prosím for the bill, and of course, pivo, beer.
Got it. Those 5 will get you a long way.
Oh.
Now, let's talk about the rules for academia. The sources really stress this part.
This is a huge cultural point. When you're addressing a teacher, a professor, any academic authority, you must use the formal address. Always. That means dear, plus their title and their surname.
So, dear Professor Novak, not hi, Jan.
Never. You risk being seen as deeply disrespectful. It reflects this profound cultural respect for hierarchy and age. You only switch to a first name if they explicitly invite you to.
That formality is a massive cultural signpost. It connects right back to that respect for tradition we saw with the protected foods.
Absolutely. Okay, moving to logistics. Getting settled. The sources point to the ESN Buddy program as being invaluable for international students.
It's a free volunteer service. A local student helps you with everything from airport pickup to getting settled in your dorm.
And you have to apply at least 3 weeks in advance. It's not a last-minute thing. And the sources point out why having a buddy is so important for certain tasks.
Right, the communication gaps. You might need your buddy to go with you to the doctor's office in the dorms, for example, because the staff there might not speak English. It's a real safety net.
And what about places for students to actually work and hang out?
There are dedicated study breaks lounges for studying and relaxing. But the main hub is the National Technical Library, the NTK.
A huge modern library.
Exactly. And within that world, there's Club Carbon, a non-smoking student cafe, and Café Prosteru, which hosts lectures and performances. They're all built to support the student community.
And getting around. What are the essential apps?
For public transport in Prague, you need PID Lidičko for tickets. For wider national travel, IDOS is crucial for bus and train schedules.
And you'll probably want the apps for the 2 main train companies, the Nationalistic Muzlak and the private RegioJet.
Definitely. For navigation, the local app Mapi.cz is often better than the global ones, especially for hiking. And then for taxis and food delivery, it's the usual suspects. Uber, Bolt, and Liftago for taxis, and Damjidlo and Wolt for food.
A complete toolkit. Which brings us to our AA moment, the legendary rivalry between Prague and Brno. This really gets to the heart of the culture.
It's that classic capital versus second city dynamic, but with a uniquely Czech flavor. Prague's strengths are obvious, right? It's bigger, it has a subway, it's the huge international hub.
It's saturated with tourists. But Brno's argument is that it offers a better quality of life, especially for people who actually live there.
What are its strengths?
Two things: proximity and authenticity. You can get out into nature in like half an hour. But the big one is the cultural nightlife. Because there are fewer tourists, the pubs and downtown scene are for locals.
So less touristy stuff, fewer those turtleneck chimney cake stands everywhere.
Exactly. It's cultivated for local taste. And logistically, the night transport system in Brno, the Desde, gets rave reviews. Super reliable trams every 30 minutes.
Whereas Prague at night can be.
A real pain, according to the sources. For a student, reliable night transport is a massive quality of life booster.
That's a huge point in Brno's favor. And the rivalry comes with jokes, of course.
Oh, the rivalry is intense but funny. Prague jokes that Brno is just a village or that it doesn't even exist. And then there's the astronomical clock in Brno.
Which is famously called the dick in the square.
Yes. It speaks to that cynical, affectionate local humor. But despite the jokes, the sources show Brno actually has a bigger theater scene relative to its population, so the cultural depth is real.
So the conclusion is, Prague is the international magnet, but Brno offers a more focused, arguably higher quality local life.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? We've gone from the spas of Karlovy Vary to the wine cellars of IELTS. We've eaten protected carp and dissected a major urban rivalry.
I think we firmly established that Czechia is a country defined by fiercely defended regional specialties. This isn't just one single culture, it's a tapestry of regional pride.
Whether it's the Carp, the unique Olomouc Tversky cheese, the industrial history of Pilsner, the identity is intensely regional.
It's proud, and it's structured around tradition.
And for the learner, the key takeaway is about connection. The sheer density of UNESCO sites we talked about shows how central and historically rich this region is.
And it's so well connected. You can hop on a night train from Prague or Olomouc and be in Budapest or Krakow the next morning. It's not just a destination, it's a hub.
Which brings us to our final thought, something for you to mull over. We talked a lot about that cultural mandate to use formal titles. Dear Professor, Dear Doctor in academic settings.
And we saw that same respect for tradition in the legal protection of local foods and those fierce regional identities, like Prague versus Brno.
Right. So here's the question. How does this profound respect for formality and fiercely protected local heritage shape the way new, maybe even disruptive ideas are debated in Czech academic settings?
That's a fascinating tension. Between formality and innovation?
Does that expectation of formality encourage rigor and a respect for established methods? Or could this deep reverence for tradition create friction when you're trying to introduce globally new, challenging, or paradigm-shifting concepts? It's something profound to chew on when you land in the land of Pilsner and plum spirit.
A great point to consider as you navigate that new cultural landscape.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us for the deep dive. We hope you feel thoroughly informed, culturally prepared, and maybe, just maybe, very hungry.
Safe travels.
And Dikuji for listening.